do not lose risking your TriCare benefits for prescription drug plan by simply enrolling in the wrong plan. Welcome back to Medicare Uncomplicated. My name is Sebastian Correa. I am a health insurance broker here in Ocala in the Villages, Florida. And today we're basically talking about the veteran or TriCare for life trap. So whether you have VA benefits or TriCare benefits, when you turn 65, you'll have something called TriCare for life, or you'll have the VA benefits you can continue to still see. These insurance is fantastic healthcare. You really don't have to do much other than just enroll in Medicare A and B. But when it comes time to navigate Medicare, it can feel like you're in a minefield, and it potentially could be a trap if you're in the wrong plan. Here's the baseline. If you have TriCare, you are required to get Medicare and just pay the Part B premium, which for 2026 is $202.90. If you're on TriCare for life and you get your Medicare Part A and B and you do absolutely nothing else, you have fantastic coverage. For most people, I tell them you do not have to do anything else. At this point, really, you have really good coverage. Medicare Part A and B becomes your primary, and TriCare for life becomes your secondary. You also have TriCare for life prescription drug plan. Most of the time is with SilverScripts. Now you do have a unique option. You can get a Medicare Advantage plan with TriCare, and this can give you some sort of perks, but be very careful with which one you choose. Like TriCare, there's also options for veterans or VA members, and they can also make that decision. They can keep their Medicare Part A and B, do absolutely nothing, and use their VA benefits, or they also have some unique options where they can get some perks as getting a Medicare Advantage plan. Be very careful. One wrong move can ruin your prescription drug plan that's much superior in SilverScripts with TriCare. In this video, I'm going to show you what are some of the options you have with TriCare members and Medicare Advantage, as well as VA members and Medicare Advantage. We'll cover the crucial difference when it comes to looking at these options to making sure you're not making a wrong mistake. When it comes to VA or TriCare, the rules are not the same through Medicare and even through the way they work alongside as a supplementary plan. And this is why it's good to look and to see how each one would benefit you depending on whether you have TriCare or VA benefits. Let's uncomplicate your veteran benefits together. Let's talk about the differences. Let's start off with TriCare. What is TriCare? TriCare serves active duty service members as well as their families and military retirees. VA, Veteran Affairs, this is simply health care for veterans that meet specific eligibility criteria, including discharge status, how long they served, connected also if they've been disabled in battle. So basically, veterans that do not have access to TriCare will have the VA benefits. So for TriCare members, you're turning 65, you're going to be getting a letter in the mail, almost feeling like you're going to lose your TriCare. And don't worry, that's not at all what's happening. What happens is they are requiring you to enroll in Medicare A and B and continue TriCare with a program called TriCare for Life. And what ends up happening here, like mentioned earlier in this video, is you get your Medicare Part A and B as your primary. Really, most people are going to be responsible for a premium payment of $202.90. And the remainder, really, the secondary will be your TriCare for Life benefits. I can't emphasize this enough. If you have Medicare Part A and B and you have TriCare for Life benefits, you don't have to do a thing. If you want to play it safe, you don't want to mess around, change doctors, and you're really very happy paying that premium of $202 and that is okay with you, you have fantastic coverage, don't do a thing. You do have the option though. If you want to go into reducing that Medicare premium, let's say that $202 is just a bit much for you. You're probably still, I have a client who's still working, they have TriCare benefits, and that they were not expecting to be paying now for Medicare. Well, there is an option with Medicare Advantage plans, especially here in Florida, that will reduce that Part B premium. Depending on which plan, it can reduce it from $50 to $100, maybe even $150. It really depends on what's available. But here's the catch. You have to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that does not include any prescription drug coverage. The reason being is enrolling in a plan that does include prescription drug coverage will kick out TriCare for Life's SilverScripts drug plan. So my suggestion, if you're local, you're not planning on moving, you're seeing minimal doctors, and you don't mind reducing your bill, getting maybe some perks on dental, on vision, over the counter, a Medicare Advantage plan without the drug coverage is actually a really good option. The benefit too is you can try this plan out for a year. If you don't like it, just disenroll from the plan during the open enrollment period at the end of the year, and you are back to just Medicare and TriCare. So you don't have a lot of risk. The only risk you have is trying it out for a year. The only headache that I see with my TriCare members is if they ever go into a Medicare Advantage plan, is when they go to pay a bill, sometimes the institution or the facility, the healthcare provider, might not send the bill to TriCare. You might have to pay the bill at the facility and then submit that bill to TriCare, and they'll reimburse you. So that headache, if you don't want to deal with that, maybe just stay in Medicare and TriCare for Life. Now, let's say you don't have TriCare, but you are a veteran and you have VA benefits. You're probably seeing the VA clinics. You're also going to VA hospitals, and you are completely okay seeing these clinics, completely okay getting your prescriptions from these clinics. Well, you don't have to change a thing, but definitely enroll in Medicare Part A and B. It is gonna bite you in the butt later on when you might have other needs. Same rule applies here when it comes to VA veterans, is you have the option of using both. You can use your Medicare benefits to go to other clinics and hospitals, and you can use your VA benefits to continue to use the VA as well as use their drug plan. The VA's drug plan is very good. I would probably shop there first before considering getting prescriptions somewhere else. The only concern I see from some veterans is how long it may take. It may be a little bit of a process to get, but you do have the option. And when I say you do have the option is if you decide to get a Medicare Advantage plan, the VA veterans do have the option to get a prescription drug plan as well. What's unique for the veterans that have VA benefits and not TriCare is that they can get basically 2 drug plans. You can use the VA drug plan with the VA, and you could also use a drug plan from the plan itself. Remember, Medicare covers 80%, and very likely if you're a veteran and you decide to go outside of the veteran and the VA, you might have to pay 80% of, or 20% of whatever Medicare is not covering if you're not using the VA. So for most veterans, my strong recommendations is look at an Advantage plan that is either PPO, which there's a few of them out there, and you can do a mixture of both. You can either do a Medicare Advantage plan that has no drug coverage and continue to use the VA. Some of these plans, like mentioned with TriCare, have a benefit of reducing that Part B premium. But you also have the option to do a Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan that does include the prescription drug plan, and you can still use the VA prescriptions as well as the prescriptions with this. I've actually had a veteran that mentioned he likes the idea of having both in case something has happened with their medication delay with the VA. They can always use the prescription drug plan, even if it's a little bit higher, but they know they're going to get their medication sooner, or it's closer to home. For whatever reason, they like having that option, and you do have that option as a VA member. For my veterans, thank you for your service. Honestly, I'm happy to see that at least in healthcare, you are getting some good benefits through the government, and you have a couple perks and options that you can decide in this space. If you do need some more help, if you're still questioning whether you should stay with Medicare and TriCare or VA, and if you consider looking at Advantage plans, feel free to write something on the comments below. Maybe give me a case scenario and see if there's something that we can help you with. However, let's say you're a veteran, but you've been disabled in battle, and you got a letter within 24 months of a disability, and you're like, well, I'm getting Medicare before the age of 65. And that is because not everybody that is 65 or over gets Medicare. You have some unique opportunities to get Medicare before the age of age 65 if you have disabilities. For more information on how this happens, look at the next video and learn more.